like, first of all, like, I don't care what the data says. I do not care what the fuck any data says. Everybody is different, okay? Like, it's just absolutely baffling to me. Baffling to me. And the person even said about, so today I want to discuss the prevalence of sexist men and, you know, the judgment on women's sexuality. And whether that be in, like, you know, casual relationships, like a woman who sleeps around, or it could be a woman who is a professional dancer in a strip club, or she's a sex worker, or she does an online platform like OnlyFans. Okay, so those are the two things I got. Usually, it's like men will judge them and be like, oh, you did all that stuff, so I'm not gonna marry you, you know, stuff like that, right? Some people have no problem with it, like they say they have no problem with it, but then they're like, okay, at the end of the day, it's just not the woman that I would marry, right? And then some people do have a problem with it, at which point I have to explain, like, first of all, like, a woman, sometimes you don't choose that, you know. There are people who absolutely, like, you know, it's just something they genuinely enjoy, right? But other people, they do it to make ends meet, you know, or they do it to secure their own financial independence. Because you always know, like, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, to exist as a woman, there's always going to be somebody having some kind of sexual intent towards you, whether it's, what's it called, for good and for bad, whether it's wanted or whether it's not. And it's like, okay, then, so at least a woman can make money off that. At least she can profit off that. Because at the end of the day, you're never going to get away from it. You know, and honestly, it's like, you know, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, whether it's a trans person, it don't matter. You know, all included, every human being is subject to these, actually. You know, every human being, even if you're asexual, right? And you don't want anything. Say you're asexual who also don't want anything to do with sex, right? Even you could still be objectified, you know, or seen as an object, you know? So that's why I'm saying it's like, whether you wish you could escape it or not, like, it's still prevalent for everybody. But today I'm just talking about just for women and men, only for simplicity's sake, okay, for sake of argument. So anyway, I'm saying, okay, at least women can take matters into their own hands, at least profit off of it, at least get money off of it. Because, you know, at the end of the day, if you compare that to just sleeping around or casual sex, like, sure, you get gratification, satisfaction, whatever, but you're not getting paid. You're not getting paid, right? So I was thinking, like, you know, you could see these, a lot of maybe self-development male YouTubers who, well, not a lot, just say, you know, I know of these YouTubers who usually, like, sleep around their whole life, you know, until they're, like, late or mid-20s, whatever. Then they get serious for 1 or 2 years. Then they end up marrying this person. They're like, oh, I found my wife. I found the woman I want to marry, blah, blah, blah. Happy for them, right? But then it's like, okay, the woman didn't say, oh, because you slept around all those years, you are now not eligible to marry me. You see? Except it seems to me that men do that to women, right? Because if a woman were to be like that, like, either she sleeps around or slept around, right? Or she's in the line of work where, like, that's literally her job, that's literally her work, all of a sudden it becomes a reflection of the woman's, like, character, of her values, of her, of her character and values. Like, it people take it as a personal measure of her inherent worth or value. Whereas if it's a man, it's just like, oh yeah, that happened. He's still good. He still be a good husband, a good father, whatever. But the second that's a woman, all her values and personhood and character and morals and whatever come into question, right? And I'd like to, it's the word postural. Anyway, I would like to propose that it's like, you know, two different things, that somebody's sexual history is completely different from their character, values, morality, blah, blah, blah. It's just that a woman's sexual history, like, it's the best tool for people or men to judge her against, right? Yeah, it's just the easiest thing to judge her against. You know, it's like, I don't know what else is there even to be said, though. It's like, I already made the point. So one thing that comes up is, like, there's this sex podcaster, Shan. She goes by Shan Boody, and that's literally her. She's a sexologist. Like, she's certified, like, kind of like a sex therapist, and like she knows a lot of psychology and philosophy, all this stuff, and she interviews people from all over the world. It's not just hetero people, it's not just cisgender people, it's all over the world, everybody on the spectrum of sexuality, everybody, okay? So it's like, I recommended, like, when I recommend her as a resource, mind you, it's not unsolicited, it's from people who ask. I make sure they want me to recommend a good resource, okay? I don't do it unsolicited, right? So I tell them, like, bro, if you're one of those people who's eating a little box and don't like women who have agency or have experiences that's not hetero or not just monogamous, or just outside the pretty little box, like, don't, like, be offended. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm anyway, I can't control how people take things, okay? So recently, I have reminded somebody of a resource, this resource being Shan, and they on here to say about to discredit her because of that, and like, her earlier videos versus like what she does now. There's definitely more of a polish, for lack of better words. Anyway, I was just really pissed off because it's like, so you're taking one look, like, you know what I'm saying, like, the first impression, you're taking one thing, literally one thing, and saying, oh, this woman has no character, she has no morals, she has no values, she just slept around too much when she was little. And this person went on to say about, literally went on to say about, they did some research, and like, research shows that men who sleep around, something like, they like bond less or something, so they can still be happy in their, if they, in a monogamous marriage later on, they can still be satisfied. But he's saying that, like, but women who, like, sleep around all the time before they get married, and then they're not going to be satisfied in their marriage, right? So I'm just like, first of all, like, I don't care what the data says. I do not care what the fuck any data says. Everybody is different, okay? Like, first of all, like, just disregard that for a second, even if we assume that it were to be true. Everybody is different, okay? Some people, yes, some people can manage sleep around and they're completely fine. Other people need, like, an emotional bond to the person, an emotional component. Like, they need stuff with more intention, okay? For it to be of any value of them. Like, some people, they sleep around, it just does nothing for them, okay? Everybody is different. I don't care the flip no data says, because it's such an outdated idea. Like, using, bringing up studies like that is just a front and a means by which to allow people to just judge women, like, pass a judgment on women. And so instead of saying, I don't believe a woman should be allowed to sleep around before marriage, you get to say, oh yeah, this data says she's not happy with her husband. I'm just like, like, it's just absolutely baffling to me. And the person even said about, oh yeah, that's all she knows about. She may be intelligent in that one area, but I bet she don't know anything in other areas, right? And I was like, well, my good sir. Like, she's literally, that's her degree. It's literally like her life's work, her career, her job. It's literally her job to talk about sex, right? And this individual was insinuating, implying that, like, oh, like, that she just, I don't even want to say, you get where I'm going. Like, they were implying that it's all just, like, for dumb, fun, entertainment, and gratification, okay? That there's no substance or value or insight in her work. At which point I had to remind them, like, bro, like, don't you understand, it's not just about sex. It's about interpersonal dynamics. It's about psychological stuff. It's about, like, how the brain is wired, how the body is wired. It's about power dynamics. It's about just all these things that come together. You see what I'm saying? It's actually quite an interdisciplinary study, Anyway, I find, like, I haven't even watched her series lately, but I find her to be an incredibly intelligent individual, and someone like me appreciates all her conversations with all these different people, right? Because at the end of the day, intellectual value is intellectual value. Like, anyway, going back on the point, like, I just really hate how women, like, it's such an archaic thing that women are still held to such a high standard of purity that men themselves do not fit into. Like, you could be a man who sleep around, right, your whole life till you're like 25 or whatever. Then all of a sudden, from 26 to 27, you're like, oh, I'm gonna be serious. I'm gonna find my wife, right? Then say when you're 28, you find your wife, okay? And then say about the wife is like, oh, because you slept with all these people all those years, I'm not gonna take you. Like, what the heck? Like, I mean, me personally, I haven't heard of that. This is just a generalization, right? It's like, so for men it's okay, but for a woman it's not okay. Like, I don't understand. Like, I really don't understand. Like, especially if you're doing this as your job or as your means to, like, make money or make ends meet or fund your college tuition. Like, it's a purpose, bro. It's something with a purpose. It's like, I don't understand how you're going to argue that. At least that person is doing something with a purpose. Whereas a man who's just sleeping around, he's just doing it because it's gratifying to him, because it's satisfying to him. There's no real meaning to it, if you will, right? And like, you know, the area of say sex work or OnlyFans or being a professional dancer, like stuff of that nature. Like I said, it also provides women some kind of financial financial compensation, right? And so actually, I think I've said all the stuff I need to say. It's just really, like, upsetting to me that people still think that way and that women are still held up to that standard when it's, like, you know, a double standard, right? And it's inherently sexist, to be honest, right? So I'm like, bro, like, can you find a man who doesn't think of women that way? Who doesn't judge a woman's value based on, like, how many people she slept with, you know? Right. And, like, it goes on to say, like, the person even asked me about, like, oh, suppose that was your mom and you realize, like, your mom did that. Like, how would you feel? And I was like, you know, actually, like, you know, I respect her for that because I know she would always do whatever she needs to do. Like, you know, she would always, like, if that's what she did, then I knew that's what she felt she needed to do at the time, you know? And that's her way of providing for her family, and I respect that 100%. Like how they say, respect the hustle or whatever. Yeah, so, like, why does that apply to everything else except women who, you know, the commodity happens to be their body? Like, I'm sorry. Like, I ain't no really better way to say it, you know? Like, that will always be in demand. So why not? Why not get paid for it? Like, however it comes about. I know it's not everybody's choice, of course. But, so it was also making me, think of, like, you know, part 2 to this is, like, it's such a threat to certain men, mind you, certain men, it's such a threat to them of a woman to be, a woman's sexual autonomy, right? So if she knows what she wants, okay, she knows what she wants, or she's had plenty of other experiences, so she's not going to be impressed by any old little thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it means, like, you actually have to put in time and effort and attention and care to how you do things. You're not just gonna get away with any little 1-2 step and she's like, oh my god, like, that was so amazing. Like, you see what I'm saying? Because, like, you know, it led me to think of, like, you know, why is it such a threat? Why is it such a threat? Why is it such a problem? A woman who knows her body, number 1, who knows how to use it, number 2, and number 3, actually has real life, like, real world life application, you know? Like, why is it such a fixation on virginity? Which, yes, is a concept, but that's for another day. Like, why is it such a problem? Why is a woman being in tune with her body, her sexuality? By the way, she didn't choose it either, okay? Nobody flipping chooses their sexuality. Also a concept for another day. Nobody chooses it. Like, it's inherent, you know, to human beings. Even if you're someone who's disconnected to it by your identity, right? like if you're like asexual, right? Everybody has like, everybody being programmed with this to an extent, you know? That's what I'm saying. So anyway, yeah, maybe that's a video for another day, like exactly why it's a problem, but it's like, it's just extremely unbalanced. Like, how you gonna tell a woman about she must be pure before marriage, but then the men, like in Bridgerton, get to go on the trip to Europe or whatever, and he sleep with thousands and hundreds of women, and then he gets to come back to the hometown, and then he gets to decide he want to settle down, get married to Penelope. Meanwhile, Penelope gets to sit there in her entire life being like invisible, being put down, being judged, being like bullied and like all this stuff, and can't even have a person to acknowledge her properly as a human being and then as a sexual being. You see what I'm saying? Like, can't even be like desired by a person, right? Whereas Mr. Colin get to go run around and fuck every girl he wants, literally, and there's no consequence. Yet, if Penelope so much as breathed in the direction of a man, in all that time, she would be considered impure. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a woman is just supposed to fucking sit there. She's just supposed to sit there and twiddle her thumbs, until the right man comes along, until the good man comes along, until the worthy man comes along, until the respectful man comes along, until the honorable man comes along, until the man comes along who sees her and other women like a human being and not just a whole. Because that's the truth of it, honestly. We're going to let that silence play out. That's the truth of it. It's just like mind-boggling to me. Like literally, people expect women to just sit there on their ass, twiddle their thumbs, and hope for a man to come to them, right? And say you're a woman who decided, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I don't believe that. Like whatever it is, whether it's religion, whether it's your personal ideology, whatever the case may be. Say you decide you're going to be autonomous, you're going to sleep with whoever you want to, these are your conditions, these are your requirements, whatever, right? You are someone who is proactive about that, right? Proactive about what you want. And then now all of a sudden you're villainized. Now all of a sudden you're the Jezebel character, or you're the you must be some kind of evil spirit woman, so it's just like for me, it's like sexuality when it comes to men is just like, a normal thing, and even a thing that men deserve, right? At the expense of women, at that, it's something that men deserve, are entitled to have access to. But then sexuality when it comes to women is completely negative connotation and attached to like villainy, literally villainy, like, oh, she must be an evil woman, oh, she is to be feared, oh, she is to be locked up, oh, she is to be hidden, oh, she is to be, like, everything she says is manipulation and some kind of, whatever, trick, game. Yeah, so, yeah, like, I'm just telling you, like, like those people that's into manifestation, and they know a lot about these like ancient ritual type of things, right? Because I just love to listen to everything, right? Those people who say like, what is it, like how women are like, what's it called, like the woman's womb is like a portal and all that stuff. It's not so far-fetched, bro. I'm just saying, don't come at me, okay? I'm just saying there's truth to it. There's at least some truth to it, okay? I don't go investigate things, but they're not wrong. Like when they say a woman's sexuality is sacred, they're not wrong. And sacred does not mean don't sleep with anybody until you get married. It just means for, women to treat it as something sacred, treat it as something valuable, as something that is just you. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you should have choice over it. You should have autonomy over it. Whatever your requirements, whether it's very little requirements or it's a lot of requirements. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's it called? Whether something is sacred, it doesn't mean it must adhere to the notion of purity, right? It's those two are not actually mutually exclusive. So yeah, I'd like a different definition, please. Anyway, that's long enough. Let's end it here. See you guys later, and until next time, keep thinking, keep using your brain, please. Like, how else can I say that? How else can I say it? It's like critical thinking for the win. That's it.